You know, what I think the left expected to happen is the direct opposite of what happened. Let's be real here. Somehow, the general public, or I won't say the general public, but the hardcore Trump supporters, has rewritten the history of Trump. They make it seem like he's a very relatable, down-to-earth man, when in reality, he's a spoiled rich man who can't relate to anybody that makes underneath $1 million a year. He'll probably call anybody that makes less than $1 million a year broke. He has never had a relatable lifestyle to any normal American. And this is not to bash Trump, because Joe Biden is no different. If anything, Joe Biden is worse. But that's another video topic for another day though. So when it comes to Trump, I see this going in a way that even if he loses, he's going to win. Because I'm going to be 100% honest with you. When I'm voting this year, I'm not voting for Biden or Trump. That's just not a good option. However, if you pay attention to the writing on the walls, more people are more frustrated with Biden. Now, I will say this. The stuff that Biden did that everybody hates, the exact same thing would happen under Trump. And the main things that are so frustrating with Biden is his allegiances to countries that serve us no purpose, that has not garnered us any more respect or helped our economy in any way, shape, or form. We're just giving our money away while people are here are hungry, tired, broke. We shouldn't be living the way we are with all the money we're sending out. And it's funny because I still remember back in the day when people making such a huff and puff and fuss about the little stimulus checks we got, compared to we're sending billions non-stop overseas. Now, do I think that would have happened under Trump too? Absolutely. In fact, he even said that he's still going to support the things that are going on overseas, sending money and support and aid and all this other kind of stuff. And when it comes to Trump, I see this going into the way where people are going to deify him. It kind of makes me think of Jesus Christ in a way. And hear me out when I say this. I think we all can pretty much agree that Jesus was a real person. Now, if you believe he was the son of God, a prophet, whatever, I'm not talking about that aspect of it, just the part of that he was an actual real person. The majority of people can agree on that. Now, with that being said though, none of his disciples actually wrote down any of his acts from what I can remember. This is all, ninth accounts of what happened that were written down. So we don't know what the real truth is. So the acts he could have done could have been very over exaggerated or just not done in the way that he said it all. Now look at Trump. People are making him the most masculine, the most integrity kind of guy ever. Now, when you see pictures of Trump, and they got his head on Arnold Schwarzenegger's body, trying to make him look more tough. And granted, Trump has never had a physically fit physique his whole entire life. You just could go back to look at pictures of him from the 70s, 80s, 90s. That's just what it was. He just didn't have it. And that's fine. He just was not an athletic person. He didn't have to be. He was rich. I mean, you get women one or two ways, right? Either be rich or be ripped. He chose rich. So, in 100 years, we're gonna have pictures of Trump in Arnold Schwarzenegger's body. We're gonna have pictures of Trump of him taking credit for Barack Obama's accomplishments. Like, not even accomplishments, just kind of these things that were attributed to him. For example, I remember there was a TikToker who was going around saying, the Trump supporters are strong. Look at everybody that came out to the Trump rally in Washington, D.C. when it really wasn't in Washington, D.C. And that was actually an Obama rally. He took his video down later once enough people told him how wrong he was. At least he had that type of integrity to do that. But as time goes on and people's memories get shortened, and of course, if you tell somebody a lie or a story or feel or alter something enough, they'll believe it, it'll change their memory. So that's why I'm saying that this kind of reminds me of Jesus Christ in a way. Trump is a real man. Trump has did some things that I can agree with, that I actually did like. But at the exact same time, he's not this ultra masculine, integrity, the straight shooter man. And realistically, he's just a rich man who got lucky, that fell into being the president of the United States when originally he didn't think he was going to win. Now, when it comes to this whole entire of him being arrested and being convicted, not arrested, excuse me, him being a convicted felon now, who do you think that's going to attract more? And I hate to say it, it's going to be black people though. It's going to be brown people. It's going to be poor white people. People who has been locked up, feel like the government has been, that has felt like the government has just let them down in every way, shape, or form, and they can't get a fair shake. And let's be real here. I think this charge that they finally got Trump on was pretty ridiculous. From what I understand of the charges, Trump essentially went down for taking advantage of the oldest profession we have, paying for adult services. And let's be real here. Whether you pay for it out in cash, if you pay for a wine and dining them on dates, or most rich people do, buying them bags and all this other kind of stuff, you're paying for it. It's just the monetary transaction, the actual money, the dollar sign behind it, and him altering what it was really for. I think they said it was for legal fees and stuff, for paying services to a Stormy Daniels, a woman who has probably paid a lot less dealing with men on film compared to actual being with a quote unquote billionaire. It annoyed me when I heard it, to be honest with you. And let's be real here, that profession is not going to go away. It's too profitable. It's too profitable for people who are starring in it, the people who are behind the cameras directing it, the people that are distributing the footage, the people that are on the law buying side of it, that are prosecuting it. And yeah, you could put laws in place and guidelines to try to help minimize and negate it and stop it, but it's not going anywhere. It's literally the oldest profession that we have. Caveman was trading a sharper rock for a woman because a sharper rock could sit there and help to kill something to make their lives better or feed a family or whatever. It's the oldest profession. It's not going anywhere. So for Trump to go, and you know what's the funny part about it is, his wife knew, or whoever he was with at the time. I can't remember if he was with his current wife now or somebody else, but she knew. And truthfully, a lot of the times there's an expectation when you're with somebody that rich and famous, they're going to cheat, because you cannot be around that person 24/7. They're going to have their own needs, and they're going to need to be met. A lot of times, the women just don't want to be embarrassed how to come out into the public, but she knew. She knew, and for some reason, because we're looking for a reason to take him down, we found that and used that. And I guarantee you, there's a lot of men out there who has paid for those exact same services. They got locked up, they lost their jobs, they lost their families, all because they had a need that they couldn't get met at home, or they had a need that, I'll just leave it at that, a need that they couldn't have met at home, so they lost everything. I'm not saying infidelity is right. I'm not saying being a lady of the night is right. But what I am saying is, though, there's a lot of people who have lost a lot because of that. And then they look at Trump, a billionaire, former president of the United States, a man running for government, who always screaming out they're trying to get him to keep him from running. And they can relate to that aspect of Trump. I mean, hell, I paid for some stuff and I went to jail. They're doing the same thing to Trump. Sometimes a lot of laws that we have, I understand what they were there for and why they were in place, right? On the other hand, though, sometimes I think we should have a full review of our laws and just get rid of some of the ones that just don't make any sense. Now, it's one thing if somebody was being trafficked, or somebody was, well, traffic pretty much covers a broad thing, you know, kidnappings, all that other kind of stuff, then yes, throw them to the wolves. But if two consensual adults are paying for a service, why not? As long as they're not being drugged or forced and underage, why not? I feel like there's a lot better stuff that our money and tax dollars can be going for, instead of trying to take somebody down because they are trying to get a need met. A need met with another adult. And we just don't like the form of payment that was done that particular time. And I'm sitting here as I'm talking, hearing myself pretty much defending Trump, something I really don't want to do. I don't want to defend Trump. I don't want to defend Biden, because at the end of the day, no matter who's in office, as long as it's a Republican or a Democrat, it's going to be the same story. We're just going to place blame on who's in office that particular time, what's going to be done. But what's going to be done is going to be done because people who actually have the real power are not being seen in the cameras. They're not being seen making speeches. It kind of reminds me of that Ronald Reagan, when he was giving a speech. I forgot the name of the banker, but he was pretty much telling Reagan to hurry it up. The president. The banker was telling the president to hurry it up. And man, I could go on a rant about Reagan and how that's where our country really started to go downhill. Because every single president after Reagan, or Reagan and after, was all controlled by other people. Which is kind of sad in a way if you think about it, because a lot of these quote unquote presidents are normally pretty wealthy. I mean, if you really think about it, the brokest president we had, and maybe brokest is not the right word. I can't say the least wealthy, so I think it's rich then wealthy. So I guess Obama would have been considered more of on the rich side, but all other presidents were wealthy. They were multi-million, almost billionaires. But somehow they're still able to be bought by campaign donations. Sometimes I kind of wonder, when is enough? There's just too much money being thrown around to people who don't need it, compared to the people who are at the bottom, who can't even buy enough groceries to get through 2 weeks. So that's why I'm not voting for any one of these clowns. Because people are having trouble buying groceries for 2 weeks. And you see these campaign donations, and they're talking about sending money to overseas while we're still hurting daily. If any one of us had one horrible day, we'll be finished. There's no support, there's no aid. We're paying taxes for wars we don't support. It's crazy. So no, I'm not voting for Trump. I'm not voting for Biden. I'll find somebody to vote for. You know, it normally comes out closer to the election, the third or fourth parties that are running. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on the situation. I kind of run off on a tangent a little bit about that, because I could talk about Trump in a while. So, you know, you guys will leave a comment. Tell me what you think of the situation, good or bad. I'm not a Trump supporter, but I can understand why a Trump supporter would go so hard for him to help him raise $58 million, $53 million in a 24-hour period. Again, he's a billionaire. He doesn't need it, but, you know, it's crazy. It kind of makes me wonder how much of that money is actually some type of money laundering. You know, $53 million in like 24 hours, that's crazy. After you've been convicted as a felon. Granted, the charges I don't necessarily agree with, just from a moral perspective, because again, it was two consensual adults. One of the adults who actually works in that industry. I don't know if she still does, or who worked in the industry. So she got paid a lot less for the same thing with men that are worth a whole lot less to Trump, financially that is. So I don't see the big deal. I don't see these as the charges that should have held on to him. But it is what it is. It's all a game. It's all our taxes and resources being wasted. And I'm just tired of it. That's what it boils down to. At the end of the day, I'm just tired of it. Anyways, you guys tell me what you think. Like, comment, subscribe. Have a good one.